Wrestling with Siblings. I'm your host, Araceli, and this is my co-host, Armando.
Hi guys, I'm Armando, and welcome to Wrestling with Siblings.
So this week, we're going to be reviewing Raw in Oklahoma City. First off, let's get started with the Beast, Brock Lesnar, who comes out accompanied by none other than Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman pretty much starts cutting a promo on Finn Balor, and to me in this situation it feels like they were really trying to push Finn Balor. They were really trying to make him seem like a superhero, trying to make him seem like this character that's larger than life.
Yeah, and they gave an example like David and Goliath, and that's pretty much what they were trying to make Finn Balor do.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, Vince McMahon decides to come out and he says, well, yeah, but I mean, if you really think about it, Finn Balor, he wanted to kind of say he had no chance against somebody like Brock Lesnar. And if you look at Finn Balor's size, I understand where Vince is coming from, But athletic-wise, I think he has what it takes, and I feel like he has the potential to be able to at least tire out Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, definitely. I think his speed and his quickness are going to be a huge factor in order for him to have a chance against Brock Lesnar.
And then Braun Strowman comes out, and obviously, he says, that he was pretty much his opportunity to be at the Rumble facing Brock Lesnar was taken away from him over a limousine, and that he had to pay $100,000 just to replace it, and he wasn't happy about it. But at the end of the day, you don't make the boss angry. You don't make Vince McMahon, the guy that signs your paychecks, upset.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like you said, it's Braun Strowman's fault because he fell into Baron Corbin's game plan.
Exactly.
And I think that was part of Baron Corbin's plan all along.
I completely agree with that. And then Finn Balor, he comes out and he's like, I will beat you at the Royal Rumble, and I will get back what is rightfully mine, the Universal Championship. As we do know, he won it a few years ago, which was 2015, I believe, something along those lines.
I believe so.
And then he got injured, unfortunately, had to relinquish the championship a day later due to an injury, and then he never got his rematch up until recently. And so now it's like, I don't see him winning at the Royal Rumble.
Me neither, but falling back on the injury, it really affected his career.
It did, because ever since he came back, he hasn't really been at the level he was before his injury.
Not like Seth Rollins, which he got injured and he came back and it's just, I think he's even better now.
Yeah, exactly. I 100% agree with that.
But Finn Balor, for the past couple of weeks, he has been looking pretty solid, pretty good. And I mean, he does stand a chance against Brock Lesnar, but all he's got to do, in my opinion, is try to avoid Suplex City. If he goes into Suplex City,
he's done.
It's pretty much ball game from there.
Exactly. And if Finn does throw a shot at Braun, and he tells him, like, I will do what you have yet to be able to do, and that is to beat Brock Lesnar, because I will go on to the Royal Rumble and do that. So, I mean, at that point, if Finn were to win the championship, that would be an easy target for Braun Strowman. Now, he did say that it doesn't matter who comes out victorious at the Royal Rumble, he is planning to pretty much be next in line.
Yeah, and I feel that he is next in line. He deserves it. He just hasn't been. It's been bad luck for him.
Yeah.
He had that injury on his elbow at TLC, and it just hasn't been the right timing for him.
And I don't fully think he's fully recovered. Like we said it in last week's episode, I don't think he's fully recovered. And we don't even know at this point if he is going to be entering the Royal Rumble match. He didn't say. More than likely he is. Do I see him winning it? No. I already gave you guys my picks, and obviously we'll get into predictions later this week. But I don't see him winning it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what role he's going to play in the Rumble. Obviously, if he enters the Rumble, it's pretty obvious that everybody's going to try to gain up on him and try to eliminate him. But keep in mind that he did win the Greatest Royal Rumble, so don't be surprised if he comes out and he actually wins. But like I said, we don't know his role in the Royal Rumble match.
Exactly. So then, Vince McMahon, as we did say, he was out there and he said, well, I have an idea. Do you guys want to see Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman? So he makes it official, and that leads into the next match. Braun Strowman pretty much dominated 99% of this match. He manhandled Finn Balor.
Yeah, not giving him any opportunity to capitalize on
Exactly.
any offensive.
But you also have to keep in mind that the way Finn Balor works is, yeah, he gets torn down, but he automatically bounces back. And when he bounces back out of nowhere because of his athleticism and his speed, it pretty much there's no stopping him, and we saw that, you know?
Yeah, and obviously Braun Strowman knew that, and he had to capitalize on that.
And there's something that's motivating Finn Balor, and I think that's him trying to prove himself not only to the locker room, but to Vince McMahon. Because he knows Vince doesn't believe in him, and so he's trying to get that point across of, like, I can be a top star, and I can be just like everybody else, not just because I'm small.
Yeah, that he could offer more and bring a lot to the table.
And I feel like the ending to this match was brilliant because they didn't make Braun look weak getting beat by Finn, and Finn didn't, same thing, you know, he wasn't seen as the weak link either, because that's where Brock Lesnar came into play, and, you know, he took out Finn Balor.
Yeah, and keep in mind that both of them were distracted by Brock Lesnar as he was ringside, and that played a huge factor in the match as well.
100% agree with that, and we did see Finn Balor try to take on both Braun and Brock at the same time, and he was able to succeed on that for a while until Brock was able to capitalize and was like, you know what, I am not going to let this happen, and he proved his statement.
But if he wouldn't have taken care of Brock Lesnar outside of the ring, I strongly believe he would have beat Braun Strowman.
Well, he pretty much had him won. And then that's when Brock comes in with the F5, and that's it. But keep in mind, Michael Cole said it could take one F5.
It can.
And Finn Balor could be done. You just never know what the outcome of the match is going to be.
That is correct.
Moving on to Bobby Lashley's Intercontinental Championship celebration. For those of you that do not know, Bobby Lashley, the almighty Bobby Lashley, and the Man of the Hour were victorious last week. And Bobby Lashley was able to beat pretty much two men, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, to become the Intercontinental Champion. Amazing triple threat.
He definitely hit him with the pose.
And so, speaking of the pose, that is what Lio Rush has Bobby Lashley do. Strike with so many different poses, and then Apollo is like, you know what? I want a shot at Bobby Lashley, and he wanted a title match, but Lio Rush did make it 100% clear that they were not going to be giving out any title opportunities. So what does he make them do? If you can beat Bobby Lashley and then pose off, we'll consider giving you a match against Bobby Lashley.
And in my opinion, Apollo Crews won.
Yeah, obviously. I feel the same exact way.
Right?
And if you pay close attention, they did the same poses, but it's just that Apollo was one more comedic, and the way he just did it was better.
Creative.
Exactly.
Keep in mind, creative is the key word.
That always goes a super long way. So therefore, Bobby Lashley gets upset, and that leads into the next match, which is Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews. It was a super short match. It wasn't even something that was extremely long. The majority of the match was dominated by Bobby Lashley, and we also got to see the good side of Apollo. What I mean by that is we got to see his athleticism. We got to see the talent that he actually has that isn't showcased week by week.
And how impressive was Apollo Crews? He pretty much military pressed Bobby Lashley, not
Like
once
twice.
but twice.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one he failed. The second time he was able to complete it. But I mean, Apollo Crews is very, very impressive, and not only in this match, but for the past couple of weeks, ever since that Battle Royal a couple weeks ago where he eliminated 8 men. And that's very, very impressive. So we got to keep an eye out on Apollo Crews too.
Especially at the Rumble. So he eliminated 8 people, so that already gives him an 8 people advantage if you were to do that at the Rumble.
Keep in mind, it's Royal Rumble season and everybody is stepping up their game. Everybody wants to win it and everybody is motivated.
Exactly.
And you can see it each and every single day as we're getting closer into the Rumble.
Into the Rumble, that is correct. And Lio Rush, the Man of the Hour, playing a huge role in this match. And not just in this match, in every single match, because we see him get involved.
Yeah, and he has played a huge role in Bobby Lashley's career as well. I mean, if it wasn't for Lio Rush, I don't believe Bobby Lashley would have been where he's at right now. He probably would have been champion, because I think Lio Rush has played a huge factor, not only because he's interfered in the matches.
I agree with that, though. I do feel like, yeah, he probably still would have been champion, but he wouldn't be the champion that he is today if it wasn't for Lio Rush, because he does play a huge and important role in his career, and he has, and I feel like giving him that voice, giving him that manager, has helped out Bobby Lashley since his return.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the very beginning, yeah, he was facing people like Seth Rollins. Yes, he was facing Roman Reigns, because he faced him at some point. But then his career wasn't really going anywhere after that. But then you paired him up with Lio Rush, and his career skyrocketed up.
It's
100%.
Lio Rush was pretty much what he needed. It was that step into having a much successful career, and look at now, he's an Intercontinental Champion.
100%. Agree with that. Now, moving on to Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. These both men are my picks for the Royal Rumble.
And keep in mind, in our opinion, this was the match of the night. They stole Raw. I mean, you have two of the top competitors on Raw, and like you said, there are the two top candidates of winning the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, because if you really think about it, you have somebody like Drew McIntyre, who I said, I believe it was it last podcast? I think I said last podcast that he was one of my picks to win the Rumble, and the reason why was because he was the total package. And regardless of he wins or not, I see him going after Brock Lesnar. And I see him being the man that takes out Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel he's getting built for that.
Exactly.
You know, ever since he made his debut, that has been his goal, and he has focused his mind into accomplishing it, and I feel like he's a step closer. All he's got to do is win the Rumble.
Exactly. And you never know what number he's going to get. For all you know, he could be number 28. He could be either closer or further away. It doesn't matter. I think he has what it takes.
Definitely. Going back into the match, they were so evenly matched throughout the whole night.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's not only their styles. See him as like this big guy, and you might think he can't move fast, but the quickness that he has to pin somebody, to reverse a move, or to simply hit one of his moves, like the Claymore kick or whatever, it's super, super quick, and it's something you don't see it happening. Like that pin he did to Seth Rollins, it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing too about McIntyre is you could tell he does his homework on each and every single one of his opponents. I mean, he proved it today against Seth Rollins. He really pretty much had a counter for everything that Seth Rollins was going to do, and was a step ahead of him. And same thing with Seth Rollins. He couldn't capitalize on any offensive.
Exactly. And that comes from Drew McIntyre doing his homework. Like you said, he is the man right now, and I do believe he's going to be a future Universal Champion, if not WWE Champion. And if you really think about it, like, him winning the Rumble this year makes perfect sense, because ever since he debuted, he has been getting built for this 100% since day one. And him losing, I feel it's like it's going to take that momentum away from him. You know, same thing with Seth Rollins, though. So those were my picks. We do know that whoever you picked ended up being in the championship match. So, I mean, I don't know if he has another pick. If he does, he will reveal it next on the next episode of Wrestling with Siblings. But it's just hilarious because you picked Finn and he ended up facing Brock. You picked Miz and now he's in a tag team title match with Shane McMahon.
So at this point, I'm not going to pick anybody, but if I do, whoever I pick, they're probably going to be in a title match, you know? So,
hey.
So all the superstars out there, you better hope I pick you so you get a title shot.
That's more than likely, because if they don't get a title shot, maybe they'll walk out a brand new champion. You just never know. But it's just super funny because all of his picks ended up not being part of the Rumble. But moving back into this match, Seth Rollins, 100%. Every single match you put him in, he delivers. And I know we say this every single week, but you have to keep that in mind. It doesn't matter who you put him up against. He will deliver. He will give you a show. He is that good.
Yeah, and definitely, and I'm sure you could, agree with this. Same thing with McIntyre.
Exactly, 100%. And these guys definitely are the top guys of Raw.
And Seth Rollins was able to capitalize and get the win with what did he do with a roll-up, was it?
Yeah, it was a roll-up. He took advantage of the situation and rolled up Drew McIntyre for the win.
Yeah, and McIntyre was definitely upset. And again, that's pretty much motivation for McIntyre, even though he lost, because he's gonna want to take out his frustration on everybody in the Royal Rumble.
But that also comes from Seth's quickness and the way that he's comfortable with his style. And we do know that Drew McIntyre, prior to this match, told him, you are not winning the Rumble because of your wrestling style, meaning that he's a high flyer. He likes to go up on the ropes. He likes to fly out of the ring. He likes to go up on the turnbuckles. And he said that's going to affect you, and that's why you're not going to win. But
he proved them wrong, and he ended up winning.
Exactly, and he outsmarted Drew McIntyre. And keep in mind, Drew McIntyre is also a very important competitor. And moving on to the Lucha House Party versus Jinder Mahal and the Singh Brothers. Okay, first things first, Jinder Mahal just needs to be put back in SmackDown. I don't see anything going forward for him in Raw.
Definitely have to agree with you. We want to see that Jinder that was in SmackDown, and like we said before, him moving to Raw really hasn't helped out his career.
Exactly. And what I did notice was that the Lucha House Party was putting over the Singh Bros. They really didn't do much. They did things here and there, but it was mainly to show the athleticism of the Singh Bros. And I think that's great now, because what Raw is doing that they weren't doing before is now they're giving more talent the opportunity, and now they're pushing all the mid-carders to make them all seem like elite talent, you know, and I like that because you get to explore and you get to see the new faces and what everybody else has in store.
Yeah, we've seen the Singh Brothers, but I really haven't seen a whole lot of them, and I'm excited to see what they could offer, not only to Jinder Mahal, but to the WWE roster.
And I want them to keep using the Singh Bros. Because, yes, we do see them with Jinder Mahal, and I feel like Jinder can help them out so much, in so many ways, not only in the ring, but outside of the ring as well. He could be a great manager to them. Yeah. But I feel like they don't really use them in that way. They're just like, okay, well, you're just behind Jinder Mahal's shadow. And I feel like that's what the Singh Bros have been seen as ever since they were put with them.
And it'll be a great opportunity for them to help build the Raw Tag Team division.
Exactly. They could also potentially... See, I didn't think of that. See, great minds come together. And then the Lucha House Party. I mean, what can you say about these guys? All three of them have the same... I don't want to say background, but they all have the same similar wrestling style. They're all come, I guess, from that lucha
Lucha Libre style.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's creativity that matters, and that's what they bring into the table. Whether you like them or not, that is what they do, and they have learned to succeed in that way.
And obviously, Jinder Mahal was very, very upset due to that they had lost to the Lucha House Party.
Keep in mind, though, at this point, I feel like everybody in the tag team division should already know that they have to be prepared for the Lucha House Party, because I do not remember those guys losing a match up until recently. Like, I really don't. When was the last time they lost a match? I bet you can't remember.
No.
I can't either.
The thing about them is they know how to win.
Exactly.
They know how to pull a fast one on you, and sometimes that's very crucial to get the wins.
I agree with that. And like you said, they know how to win. That's something the Usos are very, very good at. They know how to stay in a match for as long as they possibly can. Alright, moving on to Elias, who said 2019 is going to be a fantastic year.
But let me say one thing.
Go for
Elias still hasn't gotten the opportunity to sing a full song. He always gets interrupted, no matter who it is.
Whether it's Baron Corbin, which is who I'm going to lead into next, whether it's Braun Strowman, it doesn't matter. The man can't sing a full song, and it's really annoying because I want to see him perform at least one song, even if it's for like a few minutes. But now moving on into this, he said 2019 was a fantastic year, and he said he is going to win the 2019 Men's Royal Rumble match.
Again, another perfect example of how everybody is motivated for the Royal Rumble.
I 100% agree with that. He definitely, I could possibly see him winning it just because, one, it would be extremely unexpected, and two, I feel like he's proven himself enough to be like, okay, I deserve a title shot opportunity. I deserve to be in the title picture. And if he were to win it, I wouldn't see a problem.
Yeah. And again, like McIntyre, he's one of the top stars and has really proven himself ever since he debuted in the main roster.
100%. And then he gets interrupted by none other than ex-general manager elect Baron Corbin. And so they start talking, and eventually it leads to the point where they're going to have a match because Elias basically told Baron Corbin, oh yeah, you're not the general manager anymore. You can't stop me from singing, because Baron had just told him, you're not going to sing a song. Again, like he said, always getting interrupted, can never sing a song. And that's when Elias was like, you can't tell me what to do now, and he was being a savage.
Yeah, and he told him, you got fired, and the crowd all of a sudden started chanting, you got fired.
Exactly. And then that leads into Elias versus Baron Corbin. Elias' major improvement, he dominated the majority of this match. Unfortunately, he came out short to Baron Corbin, but that is also because Baron Corbin is such a smart competitor.
Yeah. I definitely have to agree with you. He always has something up his sleeve, and he was able to catch Elias on a mistake and capitalize.
Exactly, and I feel like that's something you have to be able to do with all of your opponents. And I feel like, yeah, a lot of people see him, and I feel like he is underrated. He really is. Because if you really look at him, whenever he's going to get attacked or whenever he's going to get hit or whatever, he slides under the ring and goes all the way around. He is saving himself from being hurt, and that's good because at the end of the day that's going to help you. But keep in mind, he cannot do that at the Royal Rumble, so he's going to have a new strategy, and I feel like his strategy is going to be just letting everybody fight and just try to get hit as less as possible.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I said, he's a very smart competitor overall.
Alright, moving on to one of my favorite segments, A Moment of Bliss. I just feel like it's super entertaining. But she introduces the participants to the Royal Rumble, and this is for the women's side of the Royal Rumble. And then she says, my guest is Nia Jax, but Nia didn't even get to say a word because she got interrupted by Ember Moon. And Ember says, I'm tired of pretty much the same thing as Finn Balor, being left out of these conversations, sitting in the back and not getting the opportunity. I don't know how I feel about that one because she was on TV weekly for a few months. And then out of nowhere she just disappeared. So I get where she's coming from, but I also feel like, well, she was getting opportunity, And I see that. But then Mickie James comes out and she's like, I am winning the Rumble. I have more experience. Keep that in mind. And then Alicia, everybody ends up coming out. The entire Raw Women's division ends up coming out. And Alexa's really frustrated because she's like, you guys are all going to ruin my reputation as a host.
Yeah. And then at the end, a big brawl ended up breaking out between all the women, leading to backstage.
Exactly. But, interesting announcement that we got in A Moment of Bliss. History making, I'm telling you. Alexa, she goes on to say, I will be entering the 2019 Women's Royal Rumble match. I would not be surprised if Alexa Bliss wins the Royal Rumble.
I definitely have to agree with you on that one, but I'm pretty sure it threw everybody off guard that she was going to be a participant in the Royal Rumble, not just because she was injured and not because she had pretty much her own talk show. So we didn't know if she was going to participate or not, and now she made it official. So that makes her a strong candidate to win the Rumble.
And keep in mind, she's super smart. She's obviously gonna go into the Rumble with a plan. And that is very, very dangerous because Alexa Bliss with the plan, that more than likely means she's gonna be victorious. I mean, just look at her. She won the Money in the Bank. She had a genius cash-in. That was brilliant. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up winning the Royal Rumble. And then she gets interrupted by Lacey Evans, who claims she's going to win the Rumble. For those of you guys who do not know who that is, she is a call-up from NXT. And it looks like she's going to be making her debut on Raw. And talking about debuts, let's get into Heavy Machinery versus The Ascension.
Before we get into that, I just feel that Alexa should have just made a surprise entry at the Royal Rumble.
I agree with that one. I feel like it would have been not only special, but I feel like it would have been a shocker and a surprise to everybody because, like you said, that wasn't something you were expecting. We knew she was injured. We also knew she was cleared, but the thing is we didn't know when she was going to be coming back. And also, she was hosting A Moment of Bliss. So she had her own talk show, and at that point, you really didn't think back to be like, oh, wait, she's gonna be in the Rumble.
And another thing too, she was in charge of the women's division too for a while Corbin was
busy with Strowman and them.
Yeah, so it kind of made sense why we didn't expect her. But hey, excited,
Exactly.
she's one of the possibilities to win.
And that doesn't change my prediction. I'm just saying, do not be surprised if she ends up winning the Royal Rumble. But, like I said, we will get more into our predictions on the next episode. Alright, now leading into the debuts, Heavy Machinery versus The Ascension. It looks like Heavy Machinery is now going to be part
of the Raw Tag Team Division.
Exactly.
But before we get into that, I got one thing to say. Stakes and weights, baby!
Okay, every single day, I have to just touch on this really, really quickly, because every single day that I see him, that is the first thing he says to me, or he will just randomly text it to me out of nowhere. And it's the funniest thing ever, because now that they debuted, I'm going to hear it every single week. Oh my lord.
Definitely.
But I'm excited for these guys. I'm excited to see what they're going to bring to the table, and I feel like they are definitely what the Raw Tag Team Division needed.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to bring that next level into the Raw Tag Team. And like I said, I was very impressed for what little bit I got to see of them in this match.
Exactly. They definitely delivered. They got me hooked already on their characters. Otis is quite an interesting
That's
man.
what I was going to say.
He is
Especially
quite
him,
interesting.
because he got to see him do the Caterpillar.
Yeah.
I mean, also known as the Worm. And I mean, I was pretty funny, pretty creative.
That was
I really like that.
Creativity is the key, guys. If you are creative, one, it's more than likely going to make you more likable, because people are going to be like, oh, that was cool. And at the end of the day, it blows you away. And I am excited to see what they're going to do with them. And on the other hand, the Ascension. I'm excited that they're finally on TV, because we haven't seen them in like forever. I forgot they were even part of the Raw Tag Team Division.
Yeah, they've been going on and off. So like you said, it's just, I know that Heavy Machinery is going to bring huge, it's going to be huge in the tag team division on Raw.
They're going to bring stakes and weights. That's what they're going to bring.
Stakes and weights, baby.
Moving on to Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival with the special guest. You're not going to believe it. Kurt Hawkins.
Yep, as a referee.
That is quite interesting. You got to give him credit, though. At the very beginning, it seemed like he was going to side with the Revival, because of the first call that he made, where he's like, hey, hold the string, the tag string. And then it flipped. He was pretty fair on everything he did, and it might have seemed like he tried to screw over the Revival. But I feel he called it down.
But no, he did call it down the middle and enforced all the rules, man. I mean, he was very, very impressive being a referee. So far, one of the best refs I've seen so far. And I'm not lying. If you actually look at the match, he was on point with all his calls. He didn't miss a single beat or anything that the Revival tried to do when they were cheating to try to win.
Exactly. And keeping the cheating part in mind, the Revival trying to get creative here. We saw them try to cheat in 3 different occasions, which Kurt Hawkins obviously saw. But you also have to keep in mind, like, they have been getting screwed over the last month, that at this point they are desperate for a win, and they really, really wanted that, and they were finally going to get it. And, like, if you pay attention, Corey mentioned it, that each time they got a pin, it was 5 seconds. Yes, but they still cheated, and it was like, it didn't count. And I feel like Bobby Roode and Chad Gable really put them over, because you didn't really see much of them during this match. The Revival dominated the majority of it.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we've seen Bobby Roode and Chad Gable since a couple weeks, because for the past 2 weeks they haven't been on TV, or they haven't been on Raw.
Yeah, that's true. And I was just telling him that. I was like, we haven't seen Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, and then that's when their match happened. But another thing to keep in mind is the Revival got upset with Kurt Hawkins, and they attacked him at the end of the match. And I was not expecting this. Can you tell them who showed up to help him out?
Zack Ryder.
It's going to be interesting, because now, are they going to form an alliance? Are they going to be a pair? Hey, the more tag teams that Raw can get a hold of, the better, because they need tag teams. And I feel like with Heavy Machinery now being there, they're gonna need another tag team to help them out.
Yeah, definitely everybody's got to step it up with Heavy Machinery
Oh yeah.
being in Raw now.
Where is AOP, by the way? I have not seen them. It's been a few weeks now. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, since they pretty much lost the titles, they completely disappeared.
Come on, man. But it's
Yeah.
okay because they're gonna come back stronger than ever, and they're probably gonna become #1 contenders.
Hopefully.
Alright, moving on to the main event. Again, the women main eventing. Are we surprised at this point? No, but I really do like it because it's becoming part of the ordinary. Ronda Rousey and Natty versus Sasha Banks and Bayley. I want to say something really, really quickly. Both teams work really, really well, but I really have to give it to Sasha Banks and Bayley because if you look at where they were a year ago, they hated each other. They could not be around each other. And now it's like they are like this. They are on the same page. They don't let each other's egos get the best of them. And that's why they are winning matches week after week after week.
Yeah, and like you said, and I think because of that, it's the main focus, the women's tag team titles. And they had that in their mind. They pretty much knew that they were coming, but they just didn't know where. So they've been preparing themselves for that.
And I believe they have a very, very good chance. They really, really do. And you can call them a legit tag team now because they act like one. They're not getting into small little petty fights. You know, they are there and they know, I got your back, you got mine.
And that was part of the problem between them is the clash of egos.
Yes.
One of them thinking that they were better than the other one, and now they seem to be working together and have one goal in mind, which, like I said earlier, is the women's tag team titles.
And I do 100% agree with you with the egos because if you think about it, both women are part of the Four Horsewomen.
And definitely, and by egos, we saw that with Sasha and Ronda Rousey. I mean, both of them are just egomaniacs. Their egos are getting the best of them.
Yes.
And Sasha's doing one thing that nobody else has done with Ronda, and Sasha's been able to get under Ronda Rousey's skin and play those head games. And right now, it seems to be working.
Yes, and we did got to see that a lot in this match. She was, cheap shot after cheap shot. She was getting inside her head, and that, like you said, is something that no woman has done this far with Ronda Rousey. And Sasha did a fantastic job of doing that, and she had Ronda distracted the majority of the match. Ronda was not able to keep focused, and come Sunday, if she keeps that up, there is a possibility that she walks out women's champion.
Definitely. And I think this is probably going to be Ronda's strongest competitor yet.
And what we mean by strongest competitor, because when she faced Nikki, it was going to be a challenge. When she faced Charlotte, it was probably athletic-wise her best challenge. But this one is different because this is her biggest mental challenge yet. Because, like you said, nobody has gotten into her head, and that is something that Sasha did. She studied her, did her homework, and she was able to be like, okay, this is what I need to do to be victorious at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and that was since last week, I believe, Ronda Rousey said that she was amazed by Sasha Banks, how she wasn't getting the opportunity, and then Sasha comes out and immediately starts talking smack to her.
Exactly. But hey, she is the boss. She knows she's good, and I feel like that's a good thing and a bad thing as well, because Sasha gets a little cocky sometimes, and I feel like that's something that is not going to benefit her all the time.
Part of her problem.
Exactly. And Ronda Rousey, what could we really say about her? She improves every single week, getting better and better and better, and I have to give her props. Ever since she became champion, she has been there each and every single week. Hasn't missed a show, has defended the championship consistently, and she's had a match pretty much every single night on Raw.
Yeah, definitely. And like, she's getting better and better as she gets more in-ring time.
Exactly.
And it has shown it since her first match up until now. You see the huge difference in her matches.
100% agree with that, and we also got to see her when she used to get distracted by everything that was going on in the ring, and I feel like she's really put that aside. Yeah, she got distracted in this match, but if you really think about it, it's because of the mind games of Sasha Banks.
Yeah, it's a different type of distraction, like you said. It's the mind games.
Exactly.
It's not that she was getting distracted with what's going outside of the ring. If someone was outside ringside, then she'll be focusing on them, what they were going to do. And
exactly.
she's slowly working and getting better and better.
Exactly. And I also feel like she now is at the point where she can put over talent. Why? She hasn't really, over the last 2-3 weeks, I want to say, she hasn't really been taking part of the matches as much as she used to. When she first started, it was all Ronda. She was the one winning the matches. She was the one that would take up the majority of the time, and now it's like she just lays back and lets everybody else shine. And I'm liking that because they're not just focusing on one person. You know what I mean?
Definitely, they're focusing on the entire women's division.
Exactly. And Natalya, as we do know, she is the veteran of all three of these women. She has the skills, and she's always somebody that, to me, never disappoints. You can put Natty up against Alicia Fox, and she will have a 5-star match. She's just that good. And you gotta give her props for that.
Definitely, and especially when it comes down to it, she's the most technical wrestler out of all of them.
And also, one of the other things that I feel about Natalya, she's very underrated. I think everybody just takes her for granted, and they're just like, oh, well, it's just Natty. Or, like, Natty's got it. The match is going to be great because Natty's in it. No. You guys have to give her more credit.
And she's willing to put over and help talent, and mentor them. We saw for moments of the match where Ronda was going to lose her head, and Natty would be like, no, calm down.
Yeah, exactly.
Stay focused. We have a match. So she plays a huge role in Ronda's improvement.
Exactly. And not only that, in the entire women's division, because she's always there to keep them all together. She's kind of that link that links them all and brings them all together at the end of the day. And let's get into the last competitor of this match. Bayley. The hometown hero, as we like to call her. For those of you that don't know, we call her the hometown hero because we are from San Jose, and she's from San Jose. So, hometown hero, it kind of just makes sense. Major improvement. I like the fact that they are letting her win matches. She didn't win this one in particular, but it doesn't count as a loss. And we're finally getting to see the Bayley that we saw down in NXT, the Bayley that everybody fell in love with.
Yeah, and she's been proving it the last couple of weeks by getting those pinfalls and being victorious and trying to steal the show, pretty much.
Exactly, and she's been putting on great matches. Like, you really have to give it to her. From where she was a few months ago to where she is now is great. But I also feel like that comes from the fact that they want her to look like a strong competitor going into the women's tag team titles.
Yeah, at the Chamber for sure.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Because look at the type of match that she's going to be in.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very, very brutal match, and I feel like we're seeing a brutal Bayley each and every single week.
Yeah. Definitely have to agree with everything you said.
And last but not least, Raw has been doing amazing. I love what they're doing. They're pretty much rebranding the entire show because, character-wise and storyline-wise, it's starting to come together. It's starting to piece into one whole show, and I'm loving it.
Definitely this new change, and McMahon's being involved and bringing the opportunity and having that the WWE Universe is in charge has really helped out Raw and SmackDown.
Exactly, yeah. So we gotta give it to Raw, just little shout out to Raw. And that's all I have for you guys on this episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Is there anything you would like to add?
Nope.
Alright, so stay tuned for the next episode of Wrestling with Siblings. Yes, I did not say next week. I said the next episode. You guys already know what's coming. We'll have the predictions for you guys for the Royal Rumble on the next episode.
And the reviews of SmackDown Live, which is the A show.
Exactly.
In our opinion. I don't know what you guys think.
Coming this week. Hey, but Raw is actually keeping up.
Yeah.
They're right behind them soon enough.
And I'm excited.
I'm
excited. I said, 2019 has started off good year for WWE, both Raw and SmackDown.
And for those of you who do not know, we are now on iTunes. We are now on Spotify. We are now on all these different platforms. I will leave the links to those down in the description. Make sure you guys follow us. Make sure you guys subscribe to us. Shout out to our very first subscriber on iTunes. Her name is Teresa, by the way, so shout out to you. Thank you for all the love and support.
So, there's no excuse for you not becoming a siblings.
Exactly.
We are in all platforms, like Araceli said.
Yep.
So, no excuse. Become a sibling.
And for those of you that do not know what WWS stands for, Armando, do the honors. What does WWS stand for?
Wrestling with Siblings.
Join us on the next episode of Wrestling with Siblings.
Thank you guys.